Darth Bane was a Dark Lord of the Sith, with an expansive history and story in the previous expanded universe for Star Wars. With the wiping of the previous expanded universe and the new canon, his history and story have somewhat changed, but he remains an influential and iconic figure with a rich legacy that lives on. Today I'll discuss and break down his new canon in the Star Wars history and why he is still so important. When we first were introduced to the Sith in the original trilogy, we knew of the rule of the two. It was hinted at, we saw master and apprentice. And it's something that was expanded upon again in the prequels. This is a rule and philosophy that Darth Bane himself established. 1,000 years prior to the events of the Clone Wars, in a time known as the Dark Age of the Old Republic, Darth Bane lived, surrounded by many Sith brethren. He served in the Sith army and witnessed firsthand how the Sith's greed and lust for power would always eventually lead to them turning on one another, infighting, destruction, and death. The need to be the strongest, the most powerful, would always lead to this path. It also led to the downfall of the Sith army entirely. The Jedi Order set out to destroy all of the Sith, and of the entirety of the dark side users, Darth Bane remained. Seeing how such powerful beings were destroyed at the hands of peacekeepers, Darth Bane realized that things needed to change. The lust and hunt for power was not inherently the Sith's downfall, however, it was the philosophy paired with the sheer numbers. And as such, Darth Bane established the rule of two, which dictates there can be only two Sith at any point in time. One master, one Dark Lord, who would embody the power of the dark side, and one apprentice, one would-be Sith, to crave the power that his master has. Darth Bane took an apprentice and began establishing a new Sith order, in quiet, in secrecy, hidden away from the Jedi. They would work to regain control and power, but this time from the shadows, working with manipulation rather than all-out force. Naturally, the Jedi learned of Bane's existence and his new philosophy, the rule of two. The Jedi would learn of Bane's death and wrongly assumed that the Sith were destroyed once and for all. How wrong they were. Records and documentation indicate that potentially Darth Bane died at the hands of his own apprentice. The great Sith Bane, his own philosophy, was his downfall. But as such, the Sith lived on in Darth Bane's apprentice, and with that individual, all of Bane's knowledge. Darth Bane was buried on Moraband, the ancient Sith homeworld, and it would actually be the last Sith to have their final resting place there. To mark his legacy and power and influential state over the Sith as a whole, a giant statue of Bane was placed in his chamber, complete with armor, marking his final resting place forevermore. Darth Bane's influence would live on, and his philosophy is something that the Sith have adopted to this day. Even Snoke and Kylo Ren seem to be taking this forwards, though of course we don't know how the Knights of Ren factor into this situation currently. That wraps it up here for me and this quick dive into Star Wars history and canon. If you enjoyed it and want to see more, then please do leave a thumbs up. It not only tells me that you want more content like this, but it also tells YouTube that you want to be notified of content like this in future as well. Anyway, and as always, I've been Mr. H. Take care.